Welcome everyone. Good evening. It is an easy Sunday morning, not really Sunday evening. Y'all know what song I was going for. It is a great Sunday for Sunday school charting today, February 4th, as we enter our the new month of February for trading, as we enter our first full week of trading for February. We are excited for Sunday school charting. And before every session, trading session here in the Traders Crib, we are going to get our mindset right first. And we're going to take a moment and we're going to reflect on Robert Greene, the Daily Laws meditation. And he has a meditation for every day of the year. So today is February 4th. So we will turn to the page for February 4th. And it is titled Value Learning Above Everything Else. Value learning above everything else. And I will read, as you progress in life, you will become addicted to the fat paycheck, and it will determine where you will go. How you will think and what you do. Eventually, the time that was not spent on learning skills will catch up with you, and the fall will be painful. Instead, you must value learning above everything else. This will lead you to all the right choices. You will opt for the situation that will give you the most opportunities to learn, particularly with hands on work. You will choose a place that has people and mentors who can inspire and teach you. A job with mediocre pay has the added benefit of training you get by with less, a valuable life skill. You must never disdain an apprenticeship with no pay. In fact, it is often the height of wisdom to find the perfect mentor and offer your services as an assistant for free. Happy to exploit your cheap and eager spirit, such mentors will often divulge more than usual trade secrets. In the end, by valuing learning, excuse me, you guys, above all else, you will set the stage for your creative expansion, and the money will soon come to you. Daily Law. Get one good piece of advice or guidance today from a master or profession of your life. And that is a daily law. And I read them every day, like including Saturdays. And just to let you guys know, since we don't meet on Saturdays, um, like it went in hand. And I guess I want to share with you guys because it resonated with me. And yesterday was have one goal. So as we're like developing our mastery and trading, yesterday and today just sat with me a little bit more than usual. So I figure I share it. And the biggest thing that I want you to take away from yesterday is like the principle is simple and it must be engraved deeply in your mind. The goal of the apprenticeship is not the money. So think about that when you're trying to master trading here with us in the Traders Crib, right? It's not the money. It's not the good position if you're still working your 9 to 5, a title or a diploma, but rather the transformation of your mind and character. Okay? So resonate on what I read today and then take that last little tidbit from yesterday and bring it all together. That having that one goal, right? Focus on the learning and to transform the mind. That's why we have to have this deeper value of learning and always be in the pursuit of learning on our journey in life. Because as soon as we stop learning, that's when we stop growing and that's when we stop challenging ourselves and that's when we get stuck and depressed and y'all know what else goes from there. So I'll let you guys sit with that today. And we will quickly look into, I did a quick scan of a few fundamentals. Of course, we'll always go over Forex Factory to preview for the week of what's coming up. But most of the time, the weekend news is not so like exciting. It just be like they have to do their job and report some articles. But sometimes we can get some good stuff. So we'll always check. All right. Let's get into it. Let's start with Forex Factory for next week. So, oh my goodness, I didn't even see this Papa Pal thing up here for today. So one thing about Pal and some of these red folders, that when I make the calendar, right, I make it in advance. So new folders pop up. Okay, I just want you guys to know this. I hope you guys are in the habit. And I'm telling you this because I want you guys to build a habit of checking Forex Factory despite of my calendar of the Traders Crib when we meet, but you should be on your own checking it every week because I did not see that folder. And this is why we check it. Because I had no idea he was speaking tonight at 7 p.m. So this is exciting. And that surprised me because I was thinking of other things this weekend. So here we go. We're gonna do this together. All right. Due to discuss the economy and inflation risk in the interview conducted by 60 Minutes. I don't watch 60 Minutes, but that's gonna be interesting. More hawkish than expected is good for currency. Could he being on 60 Minutes really affect the market on a Sunday night? I guess we shall see, because it is a red folder for sure. Why traders care? I mean, we know Papa's Pal in influence. That's what we call him, Papa Pal here in the crib. So we'll see overall what that does. I'm excited because that's like after we get off the call too. So we can all check that out on 60 Minutes if you guys have it. And then at least if you don't have it, at least pay attention to the charts around that time to see what it does. And then we can reconvene when we meet back up to go over it and during the trading day, excuse me, I clicked the wrong button there. And see how that goes. We'll definitely have a discussion about it this week. All right, tomorrow we have red folder ISM PMI, so we will be tomorrow morning. No pre-market news, so I guess we'll see what Papa Pal does tonight that could influence the overnight, whatever. And then come tomorrow to start the week off. Now, Mondays can be Mondays. All right. They do whatever. Okay. So we'll see what happens at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Then we have Tuesday, we'll take a little bit of a break. And Wednesday, we'll take a little bit of a break where things have calmed down and we only have orange folders. We'll see how the FOMC members speak and what they like any little hints that they dropped anything. If they do drop anything significant, most of our major headliners like CNBC and Benzinga will pick it up, and just keep your eyes on the news on these 2 days to see what happens. And then on Thursday, we'll come back for unemployment claims as pre-market news, and we love Thursdays. Thursdays usually give us a nice little run for the week. And then on Friday, we have nothing, so we'll probably just chill out and watch our money just do whatever and maybe sit on our hands since we don't have any folders at all. And depending on what the market does, it may be a sit on our hands to take a 3-day long weekend. Because why not? Right? So this is what we're looking at moving into next week. Going into CNBC, okay? Friday, we know we had a run up, but the headline news is what we want to focus on, and then we'll do a recap when we get in the charts. So let's see. We have some Microsoft news, Find My Cloud. What's next? These ETFs could help investors reduce big tech. Cybersecurity software startup Rubrik reportedly plans April IPO. Okay. And then we'll just glance at Benzinga quickly. For crypto analyst warns of Bitcoin downturn, cites Tether trend. So Bitcoin, cryptocurrency in general, is going back and forth because basically the government wants to regulate it in some way, shape, or form. Every government does. And it's not really going the way, at least the United States would want it to go. I've had a few different things based on my crypto accounts get held up and like litigation lawsuits because of the back and forth. So we'll see how it overall goes for crypto, but I am just sitting tight and not really worried about it just too much on my end. This is my personal preference. All right. Any other headline news that you guys want to bring in or share with the group? We are open to do that before we transition into the charts. This is a new month. So if you do have news to share, just raise your hand quickly and I will address you as I go on this quick rant of what we will do today. So Sunday school at the beginning of the month, I would say we're going to do always a top-down monthly analysis. Usually mid-month, we're doing a weekly analysis, and we should always be conducting a weekly top-down analysis to set up our charts for weekly trades. But we want to get an overall view of what the market is doing as a whole and what it's planning and what it may be thinking. So we're going to give a greater bird's eye view by looking at the monthly chart and then going from there. All right. So Esther and Jean are blessing us with their earnings updates. So cat earnings or earnings for into this week, excuse me. So cat earnings on tomorrow, February 5th. Eli Lilly earnings on the following Tuesday. With Jean coming in with the new US strikes the Middle East, great. We can look that up if you want to look at that. And then Baba earnings for this week. So thank you guys for contributing to the group and participating in it. So let's see. US strikes in the Middle East. I didn't see it on certain things like that. When they happen, they're like flash headline news, and there's always news about something. Why can't I close this? Oh my gosh, there's always something with CNBC. Okay, whatever. If you could find it, Gene, and send the link, then we can go over that little bit of news. Because I try not to drown myself in too much news. I really just stick to this because your mind be all over the place as a trader. Um, and then earnings, you guys know, as we come here, the investing tab on CNBC, whoop, click the earnings and the calendar, and we can get a preview for the week of what earnings are to come this week, as we did have big tech earnings last week. So now we have all of these earnings, and it's a lot. It is a lot. So we have quite a few companies. You guys know you could drop down here and scroll through each day of the expected announcements and see what is upcoming and flip through the pages. So Monday we have like 136 companies, Tuesday another 203. It is a busy earnings week. So in general, you guys can take some time, and there's a lot on Tuesday, like a lot. So if any of these companies that you guys trade, you guys know me, I stick to tech primarily in ETFs and futures. But for you all that like to explore and experiment, which you guys know I'm good to jump in with you if you have a good one, then just let us know as we anticipate earnings this week. All right. All right. Yeah, watching the charts. Like you said, Gene, because we'll be thinking about government shutdowns and what the president's doing and who's doing what and what rich person is doing what. And then you just be like, you know what? The chart. And then if it comes up on the headline and I catch it, great. But there's too many news headlines for me to obsess about them. All right. So now that we're on the charts, unless you guys have anything else. It's the button on the right under the fire icon. The button on the right. You teach me something, Whitney? Under the fire. Oh, the calendar right here. Ha ha, this one. Okay. Found it. Thank you. I never pressed that button before. For as long as I've been doing this, I never thought of it. I think maybe I have, but not like paying attention to it. That's dope. But here you guys are. Thank you, Whitney, for that. This is that we're the dream team, y'all. This is teamwork made the dream work. All right, ladies, let's go. That's amazing hack because I love to keep everything like right here. All right, so we're gonna start on an MES because I already started charting my ES continuous future chart. It should be the same because we're no matter what, we're using the continuous S&P 500 futures chart with the B adjust on trading view right now. That's what I am using. Trader's choice if you want it on or off. All right. So from the monthly, this is a monthly chart. Looks like we're about to come up on the up and up, don't it? Look kind of, don't be nervous. I know it can be scary. You're like, oh my God, I have another chart. We're doing it. For all my expert candlestick readers in here, you're like, oh my God, it's a cradle. I know what's next. We're definitely going up from here. That's what you guys should be telling yourselves, right? That's what you guys should be telling yourselves. So don't worry. We got this. We're going to all-time highs the mess out of this with confidence. All right. So here we go. Let's start with support, saying that we don't really have much resistance. So horizontal line. Here we go. The easiest way for me to identify support on this largest time frame is I'm going to take fair value gaps first because I'm so far out. Now, if I was on a 2 hour something different, I'd probably still do the same thing, but I can look for other dips in the candlestick patterns if there are no fair value gaps. But if there are, I'm going to acknowledge those first, especially on a time frame like this. So I am going to use the solid line and I'm going to make it green here. And I'm going to label this line monthly. It's a small one. It left it here. Now, actually, not this one. Yes, no, I'm right. Okay, sorry. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right one, not one that's about to happen, but one that's already formed. So we got 1 candle, 2 candle, 3 candles. In this 3 candle pattern, the wick of the first candle and the wick of the last candle have left us space. That space is called a fair value gap. That is liquidity that will most likely get snagged with the next weekly candle, okay? Because it is the most recent fair value gap formed. It's up to you if you want to short it because you know it's going to be short lived. That's not on me. That's on you and your trigger and how fast you click the finger, your click and your order fills and your how you set it up and your flow and your work, whatever. I can't help you like per se 100% short this, but know that this is the fair value gap that will most likely get filled first, right? As when the next candle forms this week. Okay. So monthly fair value gap. Open. Monthly fair value gap close. Keep things organized. I told y'all, right? My husband used to trade. So he told me how pretty my charts are. He's like, your charts are just pretty. The people I learned from their charts look like crap. So you gotta stay organized. All right. So from the monthly, so we got 1 fair value gap. If you want, you can acknowledge the next lower one. So therefore, when you zoom in, you know where the next key level of support is. And in this case, I'm gonna only label the open because it's dipping down in an area that I don't think it'll come. And that's just from experience. Monthly fair value gap, open, and you can put 2, whatever, however you want to do this. I don't really care. It's up to you. But for teaching purposes, I'll keep it clean. All right. And the other reason why I'm not as concerned to trade the rest unless I get the turnaround up here and it's letting me know that it's really trying to come in this area is because this is a neckline. This is a neckline more to a V and a cradle. So we have the cradle coming down starting, let's see, this cradle broke down April 2022. All right. And then we chop. Of course, we made some money in this chop, but from the monthly we chopped and then we started to rise up and then we met the previous high. The previous high is called a neckline. All right. And then when we met that previous high the first time, we came so close, we couldn't quite match the top of that candle and we fell. We didn't fall so much to create a reversal. We just captured a little bit of retracement. There was a monthly fair value gap here. There was a monthly fair value gap. Oh, I thought I clicked it here. You guys see it based on the candle. This is why you have to learn how to read it for once the indicators expire after certain times on this particular indicator. Okay. So there was a monthly fair value gap here. So when this candle was made, whatever happened, August 2023, we started to pull back. All right. We pulled back into that fair value gap and then we came back with the next candle and cleared it. All right. Then we made a decision. Then we decided to turn around and come up. Now we have a V. Now within this V, we said, okay, is our next candle confirming that we can continue up? Yes, we had a great week. We broke the neckline. That's why it was a great week from that perspective. All right. And we dropped, but we didn't drop to the lowest low here. And then we retraced back up to the previous high and now broke through it, previous high, and even the one before that, and now have broken through. So I'm going to leave this here like this because I don't want too many lines on my chart because we know we got to come down to a smaller time frame. Now, from the resistance side, the only thing I'm going to do in this situation, because we know most likely price is going to break up further this, is I'm going to acknowledge the wick of this monthly as a monthly all-time high. The most recent monthly, you can put all-time high if you want. I don't care how you label it. Okay. I was doing monthly because I know it's a monthly line. It's just how my psychology is fixed. Okay. So monthly, but it's just the all-time high period. All right. Cool. That's it. You ain't got nothing else. Done. Weekly. All right. This is all he has to set us up for SPY, SPX, everything. All right. So now we're coming down to the weekly. From the weekly perspective, now we want to try to identify more specific candlestick patterns, not just the fair value gaps, because we have more data and we already mapped out the monthly based on just the fair value gaps. So come down to a smaller time frame, we're looking at both. And as you guys can already see, the weekly fair value gap and the monthly fair value gap line up equally. So that's convenient. Very, very convenient. So that means that most likely it could take a whole month before we get back through here to retest this, if that's the case. You know, it may take some time before we get back down to 48.73. Emphasis on the May. Okay, this is all probabilities. But recognize how it's equal. Like it's perfect. I mean, I didn't have to move anything. Now we see that our lower monthly fair value gap is in the middle of our weekly fair value gap down here. I would leave the line. That line also is aligned right with the bounce, the weekly bounce of this candlestick. So I'll leave it. So I won't do much else until you get to the daily. On the resistance side, though, I will add one more line from here. Because I like everything so far, how my monthlies line up with the weekly. So I really don't have to add too many weekly lines. But I will add a resistance because I recognize that we have only wicked into, not went into, but we wicked past the candlestick body, not the wick. We wicked past the candlestick body all-time high. This is the wick. This is the all-time high. And this is, I guess, the candlestick body all-time high. I don't know how you want to label it. I just label it usually candlestick top of like the weekly formation. It's the top. It's almost like it's not really a tweezer top because we don't have two of these here, but it's the most peak. Okay. So I'm going to label this candle weekly candlestick. So this is where the combination of like the candlestick and the fair value gaps go hand in hand. All right. So weekly candlestick top. All right. And that's all I need from there. Okay. Now, from here, we can safely go down to the daily. It's trader's choice if you feel more comfortable. So actually, let's see. I could put a line here just so you guys can see where the bounce is, a weekly. Just it wouldn't overcrowd it too much, I don't think. Let's see where it lines up on the daily is what I want. So if I label this, now we know we really rejected this area. We know that. But if for the psychological purposes, when you come down, it's just like a tip. Okay. It's just acknowledging it so you know how significant of a level it was rejected from. And you'll see when you come down to this weekly, I mean not the weekly, the daily, how many candles are in it. So it'll be confirmed. But I will show you weekly fair value gap open. And we'll just do that like that. All right, cool. Now we'll go to the daily. All right. So you see what I'm saying? How there's multiple candles in it because it came down in there. So now we're on the daily. And we see that our monthly fair value gaps. Let's come to current price. I love doing these top-down analysis. Lines just be lining up. So look at our monthly fair value gap lining up with our daily fair value gap. Oh, that tells you this level is hella strong because it lines with a monthly, a weekly, and a daily, and the line has not changed. If we can find a way to put glitter on this line, then I would love to do so. Like, this is the magic level of support, because there's 3 large time frames where the same level has not moved from each time frame that I've gone down, and has stayed as like significant fair value gap open or a tweezer bottom candle rejection. I mean, look at it. Because on this time frame, it's a whole tweezer bottom type situation from this fair value gap as well. So we got a nice, strong little bounce here. Question is, how long is it going to take us to push up out of there? It's always my little back of my mind, like, how long are you going to take? So I love this on the daily, to be honest with you. The only other thing I will mark on the daily in between my resistance and support would be this gap. Just in case price went out. Now that I'm on the daily, I'm going to switch lines to dashed. And because I like my gaps, I like to color code things, my gaps are purple. So I can acknowledge the gap, 49.53, 49.30. All right. And that's the daily, and that's it. If you wanted to put a daily line here, because I've done it before, like daily fair value gap close. So like if price retraced down here and just to say, it pushed past this monthly, pushed past it all through here. And then you're like, how far will it go? And then this daily line will help you confirm like that wick bounce that you may get. That's trader's choice if you want to acknowledge it there, but that's where I would put it at the close of this daily fair value gap. I would acknowledge that, because that lets you know you'll definitely be stopped out probably by there. Okay. But until we come through all this, you ain't got that to worry about. Okay. All right. So now we can come down to the 2 hour, because there's really not much else to do here. Coming down to the 2 hour, we have a night. I mean, price. I was telling you, price won't bounce off a cloud. It definitely didn't bounce, because I was saying if it started to fall in here, it bounced here. This was the floor, so it came up with vengeance on Friday. And it was very nice, nice trade. I was able to scalp this up. I got out here, I got back in here, and then I actually was able to do this last little push move and got out because I knew it was gonna stop after that. And I don't think I took it to the 49.90. I think I got out at 49.84, like somewhere in between here. I had like a 2 hour level, and that was that. So give me 1 second, you guys. Hold on. All right. So that was like, awesome trade overall. We ran up quite a bit, and now we hit this weekly candlestick top, and now we are turning back around. Oh, what it appears to be it is until it isn't, right? That's what it left us with on Friday. Okay. So we got our levels, and then now we're reviewing Friday, and Friday ran up nice, hit that weekly top, and now we got to figure out, okay, can we blow through this? I think yes. Based on the 2 hour, let's get into our dotted lines and let's figure out our day trades. So because we wick down here, I'm trying to see how I want to do this today, because this rejection is just so. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's go to the resistance side on the 2 hour and scroll all the way back. Let's get the top and see what it looks like. Go all the way back until you find data. Here we are, all the way back in 2022, literally like a whole 2 years ago almost. We are here in this choppy mess coming up. So because we know we wicked into this weekly candlestick top, we have no long candles up here. We have nothing but choppy order block, if you want to call it that. right here. That's next. Okay. And then getting up into this long candle to finally get to the all-time high at 50.28. Oh, Lord Jesus. So you guys see how thick this is, a 2-hour, how sticky of a spot this could be. So I think the overall goal is to continue up. Everything from our monthly to now shows confluence that price has a nice level of foundation and some nice foundational candles as far as bullish candles to run up. So how does the chop gonna look, or pull back in between slight doji, whatever? I don't know what price wants to do while we try to break through this large, because this is a small one, but really this is what we're up against. All right. Like really pushing through all of that to get to the high. So trade cautiously as we break through here. So I would mark from the top the 2-hour. So these wicks get sticky, but what I like to do is I like to try to visualize a block. Like when I say order block, y'all, I really try to put my mind in like a physical block. And what's the best way to rectangle this off using the candle tops versus the wicks, because you see how uneven the wicks can be. So for me, if I'm looking at what would make the square, okay, then the top of it to clear it. Okay, I'm thinking of like the peaks in here. You see where it levels off? And it kind of doesn't, like the candle bodies don't really get higher than this level of 50, how do I want to say this? 5,003. So like because it's not really above that, that would be my level of 2-hour. And in this case, I would label this as 2-hour order block, like fill or clear or however you want to do it, but that'll be the 2-hour, because this is a 2-hour time from now on, and this is a small little block that I'm getting in this larger block because I really am hyper focused on this area to try to get these little levels, these little targets. Okay. So from here, from getting the order block, all right, this small one, after that's cleared, then I'm looking to run this candle back up to the 2-hour top of this candle, this first one that breaks down, which is 50.24. So the very top of the body is what I want. I know it could potentially wick, but I know that coming up here is a safe profit target with no problems. So 50.24, once I get a wick above the 2-hour order block, and it got to be really above here. Like it has to really show some confluence that we want to push up here, because these wicks can trick you. Okay. But we would come up here, and this will be an additional, 20 bucks here. Right. Okay. And we can label this line 2-hour candlestick body top or tweezer top or however, whatever. It's just the top. All right. Boom. Okay. We got the resistance side. Coming back over to current price. The support side is really this gap and this fair value gap. Then the fact that it wicked through, but didn't remember on Friday, I was like, God, I wish it wicked through here. That would have let me know if it was going to come back down, and it didn't. So that let me know it didn't want to come back down. It didn't wick it. We didn't leave any kids in here. So because of all of that, I really want to set alerts. Me personally, in this situation, I don't have much else to chart until price starts moving. And then when price starts moving, I may, put a line on the top of the fair value gap to acknowledge it as price is coming down in the moment, right? To see how it's doing, or take a scalp down and things like that. I can kind of wait in the moment to see. So for now, I just want an alert on the opening of this gap. And I want an alert if it comes back up here and pushes the weekly top candle, which I think is going to come down first, but we'll see how it does. Price can just trick you. All right. And I just want alerts on those two levels and see what price does. And then I can make a better assessment of where I want to enter, because right now I don't want nothing. All right. Sometimes price can leave us in a situation that's like all signs show that this price, when price open, is going to do this move. That is not what I'm seeing today. So I am going to sit tight. All right. All right. So any questions? See, 5,004 looks good. 5,000 should also be the psychological resistance for the market. You're absolutely right. There you guys go. Bring it, ladies. Bring it. Bring it. We got it. Perfect. And you see, like, we're right in between that. So you guys know where to go. Now we can chart SPY from here and do the same thing. And we'll come through it a little quicker, since this chart looks similar to, yes. All right. So let's put in the monthlies. Fair value gap. All right. And we're already at all-time high, so that's all you can do there is a resistance until you come down a smaller time frame. Monthly and come down to weekly. That still fits, so I'm not gonna clutter it with too many lines from the weekly. I'm gonna leave that there. Then come down to the daily. I'm just gonna literally leave that there. These are all monthly lines, and they are like right in flow with these breakouts. I'm gonna leave it right there. And then from here, I am going to do Fibonacci. I am not coming to the 2 hour then chart. Nope, there's nothing there. We got to project what level to take profit on the SPY. So we have these, we have the fair value gaps from the monthly, open, close, open. Okay, bam. Now we want to do fib. And from fib, I'm still going to use this level because I don't think we're there yet. I'm going to use the level of where am I at? 469, this candle on January 17th, 2024. I'm going to take the bottom wick and I'm going to stop at, because it's right where price like turned around. I'm going to stop at 491, which is the top wick of Tuesday, January 30th candle. I'm going to draw the fib like that. And with that Fibonacci on the daily, all right, because you know you got to hold SPY for some time here for it to be prominent. You can scalp it, it does work, but you know, y'all know. For those who know. All right, we're coming up to probably 502. Okay, as we continue to push up here, this is a nice little candlestick pattern to convince you that price is probably going to continue up. So 502, then we hit that target, then potentially 513, but I said potentially, emphasis on potentially, because depending on the candlesticks, because it may not do this in a day, it may do it in a day. I don't know what the candlesticks are going to look like. Depending on the candlesticks, we may have to adjust the fib. If it gives us a significant pullback or a red candle of some sort, we may have to adjust the fib. If we don't have to adjust the fib, then 502, here we go, boom, done. Once that happens, then we may have to adjust the fib again, because I don't know what's going to happen at this point. So just keep that in mind as we're looking for levels from swing highs to swing lows to swing highs. In this case, because I think we're going to be running up for a while, we're going to have to constantly find those levels on the daily where price kind of bottoms out to be our new swing low, to be a new swing high, where it kind of starts to stall and make exhaustion candles as we shift the Fibonacci as the new candles get created. Okay, so we can keep projection levels to the top as potential targets to take profit. All right, so it's gonna be, but we're all here we're gonna be constant shift a little bit, but we're gonna be here together to see the candles, to see the levels together, to pick the right formations that are going to give us the most profitable trades. All right. Is everybody cool with SPY? We getting Fibonacci fancy here, y'all. Fibonacci fancy. Anybody who's rusting on Fibonacci, this may be the time to go back and research more Fibonacci. Buy books on Fibonacci and things like that, because as we get into all-time highs and stay there for a while, that may be a strategy you want to learn a little bit to help you with your trades. All right. So I'm not completely recharting Netflix. And this is the time, you guys, if you have any other tickers you guys want to look at, I'm going to finish going down my watch list for charting purposes and repetition of charting and getting my chart set up. And then any other tickers you guys want to add, you can drop them in the chat and I will be sure we get to them this evening. Okay. So looking at Netflix, I'm going to kind of readjust old lines, because depending on what the chart does, you will get in the flow of not having to completely start from a blank chart. You could just kind of move stuff around. So Netflix, we can definitely take, let's see, I can acknowledge this monthly open. I can change this dotted line into a solid line for the close of the monthly. I can change this dashed line into a solid line for the close of the 581 monthly fair value gap. So let's label that. So this is Netflix again. Monthly fair value gap close. We are almost there. So close. Excuse me, y'all. And then we can label this monthly fair value gap open. And then close. Okay. And then I guess this month is still going. That's why I have to review it monthly when we open. Because this month is just starting. So this candle should push us down. So I actually probably want the close of it only. Let me go back to futures and adjust that. Cause that's what I was like, wait, make sure. Cause I was on 3 candles. Yeah, okay. Because every chart, I'm like, you want to make sure when this candle starts tomorrow, since I'm on the monthly chart, I gotta remember what time interval you're on. And in this situation, clearing this fair value gap, this is the current candle. So this is this month's candle, this red one. So if Netflix wants to continue to fall for whatever reason to clear up a lot of this liquidity here, it could. Now I got to go down to the smaller time frame to confirm that based on the candlestick patterns, but I'm just basing that on what this monthly looks like as far as like retracements go, like short-term retracements and pullbacks into here before coming back up. We can see that. All right, so I would do monthly fair value gap close. All right, and then let's go down to weekly. And then the weekly is the same thing, so it could definitely come back down here. It's so close to closing this monthly fair value gap, and then you have a weekly close right in the middle here. So when things are in the middle like that, I do tend to acknowledge them. Nope, I want this line and just weekly. Fair value gap. Weekly fair value. Okay, weekly, monthly. Oh Lord. All right. That's too close. This is a monthly. I think I'm gonna leave that because it has to come all the way down here. I'm gonna leave. I can, and I guess we'll acknowledge the first one, just in case. Like if you're a heavy trader or something, you want to acknowledge it all. What am I doing, Randy? Because then when it gets down here, surprisingly, you have to remember, like, oh, let me. So you just don't want to overcrowd it. That's my only thing when I be looking, like I'll be deciding, like I don't want to overcrowd my chart. Okay, that looks good. I can deal with that. All right, daily on Netflix. So this rundown is fair value gap is a gap. So we'll see how that plays out. So We'll acknowledge the daily gap, of course. We kind of have two here. We have this one, 551 to 545, then 537, all the way down in the abyss at 489, Lord have mercy. And so I don't let Netflix. I don't know how long it's gonna chop right here. And if it and depending on how long it does, man, it could like come down a little bit. At least we haven't even retested the top of the fair value gap, so that has to be done at some point. The daily fair value gap. So we have this gap, but you have the daily fair value gap in between there. So so testing this line 551 would be the first thing I would think to do. And if you can short it down there, great. If it's because I just feel like it may want to test it. If it doesn't, it'll do a flag and it'll stay. But I think this whole flag as well, please keep in mind this could be a whole flag, meaning that it could still come down and test this and still hold a flag pattern that's bullish to go up. I don't know what Netflix wants to do. Okay. Just keep in mind the possibilities. The candlesticks. All right. Lilly, from a monthly perspective, has never fallen. Like ever. And all those days we look at like, oh, what's Lilly doing? And they doing shit but going up. It's just going up. That's it. There's nothing else. So this is a situation where this candle is the current monthly, so let me push back down here. So you want to take the bottom and the close. Okay, as support. Right? Oop, not an alert. A label. Monthly. Right, gap. Close. I spell monthly wrong. Don't judge me. Fingers moving in different ways. There we go. All right. And it's just going up. And then we come to the weekly. This is a pretty fat order block, so I just don't care to acknowledge this one. That's just me. But you can do what you please, because I'm more focused on the top here, because this is a badass order block that Lilly's breaking out of, so I just doubt it. And then it created this little tiny one and it still broke up, so we'll see what it wants to do. So we have the weekly, which I think I'm gonna come down in the daily and leave the weekly alone, because I could acknowledge this order block, but I think the daily will give you more data to do that, better data to do that, with some other fair value gaps in there and things like that. So I'm gonna skip the weekly for this chart just because there's not much that's giving me. And I'm gonna come down to the daily and I will, there's a gap in here. There's an ugly ass gap 2W in here. Okay, so we have, let's just go with the fair value gap since this is a consolidation breaks out. So that's the small order block. There's no fair value gap in here. So the likelihood of it running down will be revealed on the 2-hour. So to come to this daily area, whoop, C dashed daily fair value gap. For Lilly, people want to do Lilly. Close. All right. And on the 2-hour, here we go. How far are you running down? How far of a pullback are you doing? So I can potentially see you definitely doing this first one. Definitely even taking this second one. Possibly the third one, but this is a gap. Maybe just these two first. Meaning 562. It probably cleared this whole thing. 560. That's only $7. And Lilly ATR is at what? 13. Yeah, most likely it'll come and take this short. And then But acknowledge the body of the candle to potentially hold it up. I can come down to the 15-minute, look for anything else. If it wicks all the way through, let's do dash dotted here. It can wick all the way through the 657. We did one of those, like, bulletproof bullet shoot, like one of these wicks right here. Just whoosh. So one of those coming down to make it come back up. I'm not sure if it wants to do that. These are pretty close, so I have a feeling it could. And then the 15-minute, that level, that gap, and that order block. Oh, there's kids down here. So yeah, if we get past this little block, I think we can just do a quick to 657. And I don't know if we'll see if Lily has earnings. So when is that? Tuesday. So we'll see how it wants to react with this W. I can't call it great support with earnings right around the corner. It's very choppy and, like I said, snag a tooth in here, meaning that it got some gap teeth, meaning that the candlesticks are just leaving little gaps and they're small. So who knows if earnings wants to plummet it down and collect all this liquidity up here and do things like that. So I'll probably be safe and just sit on my hands with Lily unless you're gonna straddle it. All right, Amazon. I don't know what the heezy was going on with Amazon, but golly. So here we are, Amazon, with just some lines. There's the all-time high wick there for the monthly. There's the candlestick order block top here, 177. Okay. Then there's the fair value gap support, 142, open, and fair value gap close, 134. Come down to the weekly. Starting to pick up speed here, guys. We have, I'm buying Amazon calls. Should have been buying Amazon calls, waiting on this little stupid thing to break out. Anyway, I don't really see anything great right now to further chart in this area because this candle has already surpassed its all-time highs. It's pretty much going up here. So I'm going to come to the daily and see what other level of support I can have for when price falls. It did this crazy gap with earnings. Yay. It was up there, up there, up there. While Apple fell, then came back up. Amazon just stayed up. So you have this daily fair value gap / gap, physical gap. So at the same time, let's do this line, this color. All right, 167 to 159. All right. Or continuing up to 177. If we pull all the way back to the daily data here for more levels of resistance at the top, we want to look for, in all of this chop, we want to look for significant tweezer tops, significant evening stars type thing. We usually don't have many evening stars, usually tweezer tops. So we're looking for them. This tweezer top already got taken. Prices up here. This is the next one. 173. Yay. This is the next like shoulder level. It's not really 100% of a tweezer top. That's between like 175 to the 177 target. So if you want to put lines at the top of each of these to get an idea, you can do so of how prices slowly, what more like acknowledging what would make price like bounce or stall for a little bit. All right, at the top, Amazon, and then coming back to current price. Because of this gap, you really can't do anything on the bottom from the daily perspective. You have to come down to the 2-hour, and from the 2-hour, we got nothing. Not much of support outside of the gap that we already had. If you want to acknowledge the bottom of this candle as just like if it breaks the candle, it'll just be like a psychology, like when you are thinking to most likely enter, because it may not come back and retrace it at all. But if you just want like a signal, like, oh, if price comes down past 169 or hits 169, I want to check in and see what Amazon is doing because I may want to fill the gap down. I don't know, whichever trade you want to do, but that will be the only line of support I will put, would be this 2-hour here on the 2-hour 169. and then put an alert on it. So when I know it come back this way, I can take advantage of the gap. That's Amazon. HD looks like crud. And I mean, I guess it's getting there. What is this, like a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple bottom? Will you just go up already? So this looks promising. I'm gonna clear this chart though. Let's see. So we can, for Home Depot, this is a great cradle. Oh, by the way, this is a great cradle. So all we need price to do, step 1. I can acknowledge the very top. Let me just do it right quick since I put this line here. It was a monthly high 416. But this fair value gap, I want that for sure because price is coming up to that fair value gap. And once it bounces, then we can figure out, and based on how it wicks in this area, this is a classic setup. It's gonna come here. It's gonna do whatever. If we get a wick over 381, if we get a wick over 381, if we get a wick over 381, it's probably gonna continue. For the people in the back. Okay. So cradle, we'll just have to see how it wants to do through this area. But the other strategy is ride it to the fair value gap. Ride it to the fair value gap. We're at 357. The fair value gap opens at 375, 374, somewhere in that area. All right. That was about $17, $18 move at Home Depot. Buy time. All right. But with HD earnings, the end of the month, you probably get away with it the entire time leading up for it coming up to the fair value gap. I ain't gonna lie. And it'll probably land up here right in earnings and it'll be ready to do whatever earnings is gonna do. It'll be ready. All right. So HD for the longest has been making this from the daily, making this like choppy block, and it's been terrible. But from the monthly, we can now see that it is trying to push up towards a fair value gap. Coming down to the weekly, because I don't really have good support on the monthly except for this fair value gap here. I can mark that one. Let's do this. Okay, to open. And if we come down to the weekly, we see how prices bounced off that line nicely. All right. And we see that on our way up to this monthly fair value gap open, we have a weekly at physical gap in price at 366. Okay. So when you get to this gap, we know that gap will most likely bounce a little bit. But because there's a wick kind of going through, it may not resist as much as you think. This may be the channel it needs to do one of those like to the moon I go and the hell with resisting against the gap. I'm just gonna take it. It is the first test to it though. So just be careful. Or second, well, not really. Hold on. 1, 2, 3. See, this is 3, 3. And the Home Depot's done this before, just down here. You see how I did that wick crap? And then when it came back up. So just be careful. All right. But there it is. Then it'll come through here and we have nothing but order block, and I think it can come all the way up further than 381. 381 would be the big bounce, but then as you see here on the weekly, you have the weekly candle top before it enters another gap. You have another weekly line at 387 to 394. And then we come down to the daily. Okay. And we really don't have much else to chart because this is enough levels up there and they're stronger. And look how that lines up on the daily. Right through. This is your fair value gap right here. Look at that. Boom. Come right through there, clear it, and then what? Then we're opening a physical gap as well on the daily. So I like the long-term swing plan of take it to the fair value gap at 374. I like that a lot. It's pretty clear way to it. You just need enough time to get through it. I like it. I like the potential. All right. Apple. Apple made a comeback like a comeback kid never did. Okay. It fell with earnings and then it ran up here. And I think we can continue running up as long as Apple sticks to the plan. Apple has wicked into this little space right here, so I think it can continue. Okay, and that's from a daily perspective. We look at it from the monthly. Move drawings. This is what Apple looks like. Apple looks like a W that is stuck trying to break out. We know that once you make it's not the best W. I see one. Let y'all tell me what y'all see. But that's how I see it. All right. We met the neckline and we consolidate to then break out. That's what I want Apple to do. Apple came down right where it needs to be to meet and turned around. It's kind of still choppy. So if it's going to come back for this lower one, we could fail more. Have to see what Apple wants to do. But right now, from the monthly perspective, it's following all the rules of fair value gaps that don't need to be revisited to the bottom anymore. We have wicks all the way through. It's just done. So to me, Apple should just be slowly trying to get back up. And then we come down. So if we chart all-time high on Apple. All-time high, 199. And then we can do support. Probably at the bottom of this fair value gap. And keep it tight. So I don't think it wants to drop, but we'll see. And then come to the weekly. And I don't really have much to chart from the weekly, to me, because it's really pulling around here and bouncing. And I already have these two levels. So the daily is the next best bet if you were trying to day trade this on all these little gaps right here. That would be it. 188 gap, 190 gap. The abandoned baby to 190 to 192. It has all of this to clear up. And then that doesn't guarantee that it's going to break this previous high here at 196. Candle body. Top, right? I know I'm not really focused on these fair value gaps because there's gaps and fair value gaps. So when it's multiple like that, focus on the physical gap more than the fair value gap. When it overlaps like this. And then this is the high, the most highest candle here. And of course, I will take profit if I was scalping this day trade to the first candle to the breakout. But for resistant level purposes, you could put at the very top 195. It's all similar. Then once we clear there, we can come back up through, hopefully, and make this large W so we can finally break 200. Oh, Apple. I'm just waiting on the day. All right. Because it is 6 o'clock, I didn't get fully through. Is there any other tickers, burning desire on you all's end that you want to see? And put it in the chat for me. All right. I'm just looking in the chat. Y'all say anything else? All right. We'll do Cat, Esther, and then Weekend Ride. Because I mean, NVIDIA, Adobe, what I have Adobe left, which is kind of all of these charts are coming back up. That's the overall consensus. So we got Adobe, NVIDIA, that's just up and up. I'll scan through the monthly views of all of these. And I'll get the cat for you. And then we'll come back to futures just to see what it's doing since it is running and on. I'm gonna leave my AMD highs and levels and stuff like that. I'll move this up. But AMD and NVIDIA, as you guys know, everything is just making an aggressive run up from the monthly perspective. This is why we do it. Even XOXL, it just wanted to trip us out for a little bit, which is why we bought March. So, but if we look at it from the monthly, it is sticking to the plan. It really is sticking to the plan. Okay. So it just needs to continue coming up here. And with this type of pattern, to me, it's going to probably break through this level here. This is usually what this type of come up looks like when it's trying to break these like descending little candles, such like this. So that's that 39 target. I was 43 target I was telling you about. And you see it on the daily, but you got to come way back here. But that's all that wick that was on the monthly, these levels up to 43. And then of course, once we clear the very top at 45, 46, then we can make a new, keep coming up. Oops, excuse me, sorry. That's the weekly for XOXL. And the weekly on XOXL has a weekly fair value gap that has yet to be finished. So at some point with this long cradle we got going on here, I think when we come forward, we're gonna come forward with a vengeance and we can really take it out. Potentially. We'll pay attention to it. I do want to speak of Walmart one good time. So we are expecting a Walmart split right towards the end of the month. So if you're not in it, get in it. It looks like it may want to come up from a monthly perspective, and we'll see how that goes. There's just small tidbit on Walmart. So a lot of us bought shares in anticipation of a split or planning to buy shares after the split. All right, so here's CAT from the monthly. CAT is up. Here we go. Monthly perspective of CAT. CAT has been doing great as far as making a great level of support for itself and continuing to push upwards. We have the small little monthly fair value gap here. This is the current candle, so keep in mind that this month it can retrace back down there. So all you want to do is acknowledge the bottom. 299. Then we can come down here and acknowledge the open and close of this larger monthly fair value gap, 276 to 254. Then we're going to come to the weekly. And we're going to see how everything lines up. And I love the fact that 299 is pretty much, it's off by like $2, $3 or so. But it lines nicely with a weekly fair value gap open as well. And an order block right under it. So we know that this level, this range, 299 to 276 is most likely a strong level of support from the weekly perspective as well. And of course, you see we have two fair value gaps pretty close to each other with small order block in between. So this showing, again, strong support. I'm not going to add too many more lines from this perspective. Then coming down to the daily and seeing where those monthly lines align. The only thing I would want to do below this 299 is, of course, acknowledge my gap just in case it comes through there. I know that the gap will probably stop it out. I love the order block that was formed over the last couple days. And then this nice breakout candle to the top. So from here, since we're on the daily, I acknowledge my gap. I don't have anything else at the top. I need projection. So Fibonacci, here we go. I am taking the swing. I'm doing it from the daily. I know when I'm day trading, guys, in the past, I've taken Fibonacci on the 2-hour, but we need longer term projections if you're trading options, okay? So we're going to use the daily to do Fibonacci in these all-time high situations. We're going to use the daily because that gives us the best swing low, okay? So in CAT's case, my swing low is going to be January 17th. January 17th is going to be my swing low for Fibonacci. My swing high, do I want that candle? Do I want the one next to it? I think I want right by the breakout, but I'm deciding between January 31st and February 1st, because they're so close. but they're like, you see the little level off. I'm just trying to think. It's so plateaued. I think I'm gonna go to the top of because I want to consider February 1st candle as a breakout because it's higher than January 31st. So I'm gonna take the top of January 31st for a swing high. Because you see how now I'm gonna zoom in so I can show you. So if we took January 17th, swing low, up to, and this is where the candle kind of really turned here, made a baseline, and then we broke out on this candle. So I'm gonna take the top of January 31st. And that will put a cat swing projection level to 320 now. This candle looking like it really wants to just hurry up and kiss it tomorrow. 320 and then 335. If we looked at it on a 2-hour, we know that the pullback can take place. So we got quite a few fair value gaps down here with cat on a pullback with this run-up candle. So if tomorrow's candle wants to clear a lot of this liquidity, then it can. We have, of course, the first fair value gap closed at 313. Of course. That's easy. That's going to be done. Now, if it leaves a wick here, we could potentially come back for these two because they're so close. Remember, ones that are so close to each other, we have barely any space between two. They tend to like them. They tend to look like one large fair value gap. Excuse me, I feel like I want to sneeze. Thank you. Okay. So just be wise and careful of how it enters and where the wicks are left as it comes through 313 and 312. Okay, to give you your signal if you can short down to 308. All right, that is the order block level where price was chopping up and then broke out. Yeah, that lined up perfectly. All right, so that's the pullback. The 320 is the run up. All right, now I'm gonna, yeah, that will be it. So go from there. And then if it wicks over, I wouldn't just go with that. My theory of, oh, it wicked over the Fibonacci, and so now I can take it up. Don't do that. Don't do that in this case. Let's be very, very conservative. Hit the level, get out, pause, wait, see what the candlesticks are doing. Come down to an even smaller time frame if you need to, like a 15-minute, to see how it's drawing. If there's any other buildup you can rely on to then further take you up. Okay, don't just blindly do it. All right, investigate the smaller time frames, please. And that is cat. Cat reports tomorrow. Thank you for adding that. I feel like it's gonna run up. Like, I mean, if it pulls down, then we know it's coming down to the fair value gap at 299. Though as the furthest. Something usually, even with earnings, usually price will fall or run up and smack right into like a significant level of support or a significant level of resistance. It's not going to go much further. It's just whether I think earnings is either going to make it go just retest it, the bottom, or it's just going to make it fly off the chart. I think it may go fly off the chart. Cat just seems like it's doing a great job. It just seems like it's doing wonderful. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 candles run up on the monthly. And it's done more than that before. Yeah, sure. Why not? Go up. Any other tickers, you guys? Yes, we can look at it in the AM. No worries. No worries. No worries. All right. Now, as we peek back into futures here and how it started, let's look at it from the daily perspective. So, price has come down here. Let's see what am I thinking about? All right. So, price closed at 49.80. And price is opening 49.76. So I already did that little gappy poo run right there. And then now we have the fair value gap, right? That's conveniently there. And this is the current candle making it. So we know that this candle will probably come out and fill it. So mark the bottom. Oh, where is that? Can I short that little, where is it? 49.63. All right. And then of course, you have the daily gaps. Let's come to the 2 hour. Figure out 49.63 is at. 49.63 hits right at the top of the order block. Or where price of this considerably fatter fake order. I don't know what it was trying to do to us on Friday with this move. But nonetheless, this is the block here. It still formed a block. So we are gonna probably run down here from the daily perspective, 49.63. And then from there, I have no idea. I have to see how the data is chopping. It's Sunday night, going into Monday. We have Al speaking in 45 minutes on 60 Minutes. Well, I have no idea what that's gonna do. So, yeah, yeah. I have no idea what that's gonna do. So I would love for it to continue up to 5, 20, 50, 27. Great, yay. But right now we're kind of waiting on more data to figure out which way this may take off to in like an impulse move to like do a quick scalp or something like that. I don't have enough data. All right, that's just a consensus. I don't have enough data. And then the 15-minute looks like this. And there's that wick that's down here on the 15-minute, 49.53. That's the opening of that gap. So let's see, maybe if Powell speaks, we'll do one of those, because in this fair value gap small, maybe it's enough to push through. We know we 49.63. It has to come down to a little bit, it has to come down to at least here. So what is another $10 to $10 plus another 3? So $13 to wick through a fair value gap just to leave like hardly any liquidity down here before coming back up. I can get jiggy with that move too. Look at it. That means price will just do, I don't know if it wants to bounce. I want to do my little drawing thing. My little drawing oracle thing. And then if it does bounce, it'll be little, something like that. And then it'll continue if it bounces, or it could just come through, however it wants to come through. But that type of thing. And then we could, like start to, that's the wrong line right there. And then we can like start to come back up this way. And then I don't know. And then now I'm just playing with lines because I'm bored. And maybe he can do a W for us, right? Maybe. And then we can get something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all know I have fun doing that. I have no idea how deep into this tweezer bottom it wants to go. None at all. But if I were to predict at least there, 49, what was that? 49. Okay, wait, let me take these off. Let me clean this up. Am I crazy? But drawing these little lines. All right. Mm, mm, mm. All right, so the only other thing I would do, let me come back to the daily right quick. This needs to be green because I'm about to confuse myself. I already see it. Label, this is my baby, so I label over here. Daily fair value gap, close. There we go. That's better. And then I have fix this line just a little bit, make this a gap. Gap open. Gap close. Close. In 2 hour. Okay. What was it? 15 minute? It was 15-minute. Okay, right here. This is what I want. I want the 15-minute green dotted, and I want to label it 15-minute Fair value gap close because there are kids left in it. And it's partly into that gap. And then if you come back out to the 2 hour, now your chart looks like this. And look at that. That 15-minute fair value gap close is right on the top of the 2 hour fair value gap. People are like, ha ha. I love when stuff like that happens. So know that it may not want to come all the way through this fair value, this block, because it did this ridiculous tweezer bottom wick, whatever. I don't have a name for this move, but I'm gonna come up with one at some point. Right? So I love the way the chart has worked out for us today. Trade carefully. I'll probably wait till tomorrow or late, at least 9 o'clock after Powell speaks to see what market gonna do before I enter anything. Nothing right now looks good. Sometimes at 6 o'clock you can get like a little run. I don't love it. But let's see. Let me do a quick measure. If you felt that you could get from here to there, then that's $25. So if you think you can get it, the close of the fair value gap, just from the 2 hour perspective, because I just love how everything shows up on a 2 hour. Great. So if we're here and we take it to the close of the fair value gap, that's $11. So if you want $11, $10 or so, boom, there's that. If it's gonna go further to that 15-minute, then that's where you pick up your additional $10 to $13. And then I will pause. Right. And then figure out, but that's if you want to put on your scalper hat for tonight. Have fun for all my 9 to 5 people who this is their time to maybe trade. I don't know. Your nighttime trading. This is it. Right. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. It does really look like it's want to come down here and take this out though. All right. So if you guys have no other questions or concerns, let me look. 60 minutes is starting soon. PGA Golf just ended. Do you think it will form a head and shoulders? Yes. Yes. That is a possible pattern that could be in the works right now, because that means so what Yesenia is saying is that the current shoulder is pretty much happening. It's going to fall here and it's going to bounce off this daily fair value gap at 49.63. And then it's going to kind of create that bundle, that shoulder look that's like over here. And then that is a bearish signal. So once the shoulder is formed, then it can continue. And that will be the impulses move after it forms to continue down to 49.50. Good eye, Jacinia. Bring all the other candlestick oracles. I'm bringing it out of y'all. Let's do it. I could totally see that too. All right. Anything else y'all may see that y'all want to bring to the crib tonight for us nightly futures traders? If there is nothing else, I'll let y'all prepare for Powell tonight. You guys trade safe tonight. And I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Y'all take care. Bye.